Okay, we're looking at another one of your questions here. It says you really struggle remembering to bring your lunch to work. Each day seems to be independent as to whether you remember to bring your lunch or not. The chance that you forget your lunch each day is 38.5%. So there's our p-value. Okay, I got some things up here I'll talk about in a second. So the probability, or p, that you forget your lunch. Now this is a success for us. Even though, remember I told you that sometimes success isn't necessarily a good thing. So obviously forgetting your lunch is not a good thing, but the question it's going to ask you is how many, the probability that you forget your lunch on actually 15 days or less than 18 days, so on and so forth. So, forget lunch. And write this as a decimal, so it'll be 0.385. So you're given that n is 40. Before I do n, let me do q here. Q is equal to 1 minus p. We're going to be using that in this problem, which is 1 minus 0.385. I think I said earlier in the lecture that we wasn't going to be using mean and standard deviation a lot, but in this one problem we are, so just to be complete. So let me just punch this in here. 1 minus 0.385. .615. Okay. We got to calculate all these probabilities. The first thing it wants you to calculate is the mean. Now notice that this is denoted the mean sub-random x. I just have it denoted with mu, the mean here. You may see this in books, you may see it not. So just different notation. It's still just your mean, which is n times p. So let's go ahead and do that one. Mu, the mean, is going to be n. Oh, I didn't write n down. And put n up here. So what was our case? N was what, 40? Okay. Let me squeeze that in out here. So 40 times p, 0.385. $15.4. Now we're wanting our standard deviation sigma. Okay. NPQ 40.385. Here Q comes in 0.615. Okay, so I can do this a couple of different ways. I can calculate what's underneath the radical first. So 40 times 0.385 times 0.615 equal. I'm going to leave that in my calculator, and then I'm going to go to hit your square roots. Go to second, hit your x squared to get your square root, and then I'm going to pull the answer back up, which will pull this 9.475. I'm lazy. I really don't want to type it in. I can just do second. The minus sign, which brings the answer. So this gives me the square root. 3.077. It's wanting 3 decimal places. Go ahead and put these in here. Okay, I think I'm going to use Statdisk for the rest of these. Especially recall on your TI, when you use the binomial PDF, well, that's for the equal, and that's okay. For the CDF, it's for less than or equal to. And you have to make sure that your wording, that you actually go back to this and make sure that you change from what English says to write it mathematically. Review that. Statdisk kind of helps us along with that with a greater than, so I think I'm going to do Statdisk on the rest of these. Okay. So, I'm going to write these down. The probability that x is equal to 15. I need to know the probability that x is less than 18. I need to know the probability that, just a little bit. I'll have to rewrite these a little bit. X is greater than 11. And the probability that 13 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 17. Okay. So let's pull up Statdisk. It's a little bit wider. I'll clear that out. I might have to make this just a little wider. Make sure I'm at the right place. Analysis, probability distributions, binomial. I'm going to shut this back just a little bit. Okay, so we know n is 40. And the probability of success is p, which is that you do forget your lunch. It's going to be 0.385. Since I want all values, I just click evaluate. So x equals 15. Again, make sure that you don't confuse the row number with the value of x. So look here, we're going to find x equals 15. 0.1283183. So it wants 3 decimal places. 0.128. Okay, less than 18. So notice that stat gives x or fewer or x or greater. So less than 18, I'm going to rewrite this because it can't hit as the probability that x is less than or equal to 17, because that's what that means. Can't hit 18. X is less than or equal to 17. That just a little bit better. And x or fewer, so let's go down here to 17. Go over to x or fewer. 0.754. Okay, x is greater than 11. That'd be the same thing as the probability that x is greater than or equal to 12. Again, because this gives x or fewer, x or greater. So, greater than or equal to 12. 0.899. And the last one is between 13 and 17, including both 13 and 17. And I think the easiest way to do that one is just to take the probability that x is equal to 13 plus the probability x equals 14. Let me slide this over here a little bit. Plus the probability x equals 15. X equals 16. And we're just going to have to add those up. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's come back over here a little bit and I'll start writing these down. Okay, x equals 13. Now, I'm rounding to 3 decimal places. And normally you don't round until you get the final answer. So I'm probably going to go ahead, just so I don't get round off error, is I'm going to write down all of these digits here. So for x equals 13, and I'll start back up here with equal. So I can get all in here. You know what? I hate to write all this down. I wonder if we could do, let's do 5. Let's see what 5 gets us. 0.0979. 0.0979. I gotta round on 5. Plus, do the 14 be 0.11826. Plus 14, 15, I'm down here. 0.12832. I don't know. 16 plus 0.12551. And then the last one is 17.11093. Hopefully I did not make a mistake there. Let me slide this back over here. We'll see. If we've made a mistake, we can correct it. We've made a typo. So, bring up my calculator. I'm gonna use my keypad here. 0.09795 plus 0.11826 plus 0.12832 plus 0.12551 plus 0.11093. We'll double check these numbers again. 0.09795, 0.11826, 0.12832, 0.12251, 0.11093. And let's hit enter. And that's going to equal to 0.58. Rounded to 3 decimal places, that's going to be a 0.581. We'll see what we get. Alright. It's kind of a long one, isn't it? Okay, so 0.128. 754. Okay. Alright, here we go. Yay, we got them all correct. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.